Hey guys, how are you doing? I think this thing is working. I'm going to check on my phone as I do every day. I'm pretty excited to talk to you guys today because I set this up since earlier today. So if you are on my personal page, you may have seen I asked you a question, and a lot of people answered and gave me some really good answers. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what some of the answers are and what some of it means to your marketing. Like there's no bad answers, you know me. Everything's good. It's just things that we can do different, things that we can do better. And most importantly, if your goal is to get found and your goal is for people to find you in search and for people to understand what you're talking about and looking and answering the questions that people are looking for, then those are things that need to change. So not bad, but maybe needing a little bit different. So I wanted to talk about it today. I'm going to just share this over to a few places. And you guys know, did I put in there that this is one of my 21-day jump chats? It's a 21-day jump chat. So I will be talking about, there's essentially a lot of what we talk about in week 3 of the program. You guys know each of these nights this week, I've been talking to you about some of the things that we talk about and learn in the program. So this is what we talk about in week 3, which is really starting to get um, your SEO keywords, your SEO content, your SEO message. So we're going to call it your SEO message. So really starting to take, in the first week we talk about what are people looking for and finding your audience, matching up your expertise with what people are looking for. And then in the second week, we talk about getting you out there to the world. So I talked about that on last night's live, which is pretty good, getting you out there to the world, getting you in front of people. And this week we talk about bringing in the SEO part, bringing in your content and what you have and your people to search, which is what's going to open you up to even more people, millions of more people. Because I always say if one person says it out loud, there are thousands of people with the same question. There are thousands of people that are looking for it, searching for it silently that you don't even know yet. Like I talked about yesterday, how we do a lot of things like running in our own little circles because we can only talk to how many people who know us or how many people we know and that kind of thing. But when you start getting into search, you start getting people you never knew before. So many of my people tell you that they found me in search, or they found me, by some chance because I came up in something that they were looking for. They would have never found me if it wasn't for the fact that search was out there and that I was out there in search to be found. And that's really where you want to get your traffic from. You really want to get people that aren't the people you know. You know, it's one thing to tell the people you know, one thing to work with people you know, but when that well runs dry, when you've worked with everyone, when those people know you, they've kind of made their ideas and stuff like that, you're going to need a steady stream of new people coming in. And believe me, I don't care if you've got 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 people on either any social media channel, you're going to always need and want new people because people come in at different times of their life and different times of their business and different times of their needs, and they go out at different times of their life and different times of their business, different times of their needs. So people who may have come into the matrix of your business a year ago, they may not even need what they needed a year ago. Now they're in a different space. You need to constantly keep a new turn of people coming in, a new turn of people asking those questions, and looking for the expertise that you have. And so we're going to talk about that getting into search. So I said all that and I did very little sharing. So let me just type this up real quick. So I asked a question on my page, and a lot of people gave me some really good answers, some really good comments, and then I gave you guys some follow up. I like a good follow up, a little bit of on page coaching, not even inbox coaching, but a little bit of on page coaching. There was a lot of follow up questions. And so a lot of people answered those and we kind of went through. And some people even had, which is what I wanted, they had those aha moments like, oh, that's not on my page. Because sometimes when I start asking people those questions, like, okay, what would you want to get found for in search? What would that mean to the people who are looking? What does it feel like to them? What would they be searching for? And people start giving me answers, start giving me really good, dope answers. And then I end with, is that on your site right now? And I tell you, at least about 75% of folks will say, no, it's not on my site right now. Or, oh, aha, I need to put that on my site right now. So that was some of the questions that I asked you guys earlier today and some of the answers that I gave. Hey, Iris, I see you're on. All right. So I see a couple of folks are on. Hey, 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 guys. For those who have not been on with me in the last week or two, I will give you a disclaimer that Facebook is making changes and I really can't see who's on unless you say something. So when you come in, tell me who you are, where you're from, tell me what your business is, because I definitely like to give really relevant examples when I'm talking and stuff like that. So let me talk about the question I asked earlier. So earlier today, I asked a question on my page, and I'm actually looking at my page while I'm talking to you guys. I asked a question: if you could wave a magic wand and your business could be number one in Google search for anything, what would it be? And like I said, I got some pretty good answers. I don't like there were no bad answers really to the question. So I got answers like, after school program or trauma informed life coach, investment property broker, things like how to retain customers, how to generate more consistent revenue. So, like I said, I got some really, what I thought were really good answers. And I encourage you guys, if you've not already, to share this out. Hey, John. John answered gave me one of the responses earlier. And then for those who did answer, and if you answered and I did not go back and ask you some additional questions, don't worry, I'm going to do that. So you will get your additional questions to your answers, because that's going to help, like I said, to lead you down the road of what is it that people are searching for. And that's what I wanted to get out of people, because a lot of times people tell you that they want to get found for this thing or want to get found for that thing, and they're not really thinking about it in terms of what are people searching for. So that's one of the things we do in week 3 of the program, is really dig into taking what you've got and what you want and turning that into, this is what people are literally going into Google and putting up there, and these are the things that we want to rank the highest for. So just talking about one of the answers. So we'll start with the first one: after school program. So one of the things, like I asked about that, like what kind of after school programs, where exactly is the after school program located with everything going on with the pandemic and quarantine and COVID. I had to ask, is it virtual after school program or is it online? Because I promise you right now, I would do a virtual after school program. I would do a virtual all day school program. I do virtual any program to keep my kids occupied. But these are things that are super important that you want to say. So when someone's searching, very rarely are they searching for the one or two word things. Very rarely they're just going to be like after school program. If I'm a mom, like think about it. I know a lot of you guys are moms or dads, and you may be thinking, if I'm searching for an after school program, I'm usually looking for after school programs by a certain age. So I've got a 5-year-old. I'm going to look for after school programs for 5-year-olds. I might look by a certain sport, basketball programs, soccer programs, swimming, science camp. He loves the science program that he's in. So I might look by a certain program. I'm definitely going to look within my area. So I'm going to look for Northern New Jersey or Clifton, New Jersey, Route 3. I'm going to like put some indicators of where I'm at. That's how I'm going to search. And so when you've got something that's like super vague, super out there, that just about any, not just about any business, but a lot of business are going to fall into, you're not going to really get that buying audience. Because by the time I'm at the buying audience stage, I'm going to need to get a little bit more specific. I'm going to have specific questions, specific wants, specific needs. And one of the things that I always find with people, like I said, is that we'll talk about all these specific things and they'll tell me, oh, yeah, like when you ask the questions, you're like, oh, yeah, my programs in person and we focus on sports and predominantly deal with young tweens, teenagers, people who want to go into pro sports or play sports in classics. You get real descript when you start having those conversations. And then the moment I say, is that on your website? Could somebody like find you for that? They're like, oh no, my website just says an after school program. Or maybe they talk about it in different places. Like they might say tweens like 9 to 13 here on this page, and then on that page down there they talk about getting ready to be a pro athlete, and then on another page they might mention that, oh yeah, I happen to be located in New Jersey. Like, so they have all these things, but they have them different places. And so what happens is, when Google's looking at your site, when Google's trying to assess, okay, is this a good page for this or a bad page for this, one of the very big deciding factors in showing up in search is relevancy. Is what's on your site relevant to what the person is putting in? So if you've got all your relevancy in all these different places, then Google's not going to know this is the one site. They're going to put somebody who's got a more relevant description and bringing them closer together and really talking about it, really answering the questions for it. They're going to put them in search above you. You guys see how that works? Does that make sense to you guys? Give me a little thumbsy uppy thing. I'm looking at my phone because I can't see here. Give me a little thumbsy uppy thing, or let me know in the comments if that makes sense to you guys. That you want to be have the relevant things that people that you know that you're going to be working with that are going to be searching for. And at the same time, you also want to weed out the people that you don't want, which is a whole nother fear of people that, oh, if I don't make it very vague and if I don't make it very broad, then I'm going to lose people. How many people thought, oh, I'm gonna lose somebody? Like, people aren't gonna know. I'll tell them that when they ask me, but I want everybody to at least try to ask me, which I'm gonna tell you frustrates the hell out of people. So don't do that. But they're so broad and they're trying to talk to everybody that they just don't talk to anyone. And you almost want to weed out. Like my kid, like I said, is 5. If your program starts at 9, you don't really want me taking up your time. I got 4 years to figure it out before I can take up your time. So you want to make sure that it says something. Or, like I said, my kid really is into science. He's really not that much into sports just yet. He's only 5, right? We're working on it. But, we don't really want him you don't really want me to be talking to you about science when what you really do is basketball. So does that make sense to you guys? Like how you really want to hone into your person. So I'm going to use John, for example, because he's here and he was here earlier too. And I know a little bit about his business. John's an investment property broker. He has 2 businesses. So I'm also going to say, and I asked you in the thing, in the chat, if your websites were separate, and you said yes, which is good. I would definitely tell you to separate them because, of course, they're 2 different audiences. A lot of people do that too. They try to overlap everything, or what if I do this, and what if I do that, and what if I do this, that, and the other thing? And it's like, okay, you're not doing too much on your site. Where again, people just don't know what it is that they're trying to find you for because it's just so much going on. So I'm very glad at the fact that you said that you had 2 separate sites going on. So you've got people, you've got the investment property folks, and then you've got the real estate school folks. So I'm going to talk about, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about both. So I'm going to talk about the investment property folks. I was trying to get you to go here with the investment property folks. So when we talk about things like investment properties, if I'm investing in a property, I need someone who's super knowledgeable. I need someone who really can understand, like we talked about demographic surveys, who talks about, the ROI of the property, who's going to talk about, what's the best space to run these kind of locations. So there's a big difference between, what's a good investment property for rental as opposed to what's a good investment property for commercial. Because it might be a really great residential area, but it may not get enough foot traffic to be a commercial area. So you're going to really want somebody who knows those type of things. And I know you're going to say, well, I can do any investment property, anything in New Jersey, I can do it. I can do it all. But people who are searching are not searching for the I can do it all. They're searching for somebody who's really demonstrating the expertise in that area. So what I would tell you is that you need to say specifically, I help with rental properties. I know, the different towns and what the cost is and what the average rental prices are that we can get in this area. I know how much return on investment you're going to get. I know how hard or easy it's going to be to do construction and get permits and those kind of things. Be a landlord, so I know some of the things, some of the concerns we would have. I know some of these things. The loss of damage, or what is it like to evict somebody. Those are things that are super important to someone who's looking into rental property. So if I'm searching for those things, if I'm searching for someone in my area who does investment properties, and they start talking to me about, again, the average price for rentals in this area, and they start talking to me about, the average eviction rate or the time that it takes to evict in this specific town, what the different laws and municipalities do. They start talking to me about that. I'm like, oh, let me call them because they have a pretty good idea of what's going on. They're not talking to me about the strip mall and how I'm going to get a new, all the stores in. They're not talking to me about maybe a factory or some other type of commercial business. They know a lot about this rental. And the same thing on the flip side. If you do commercial for retail like locations, I'm going to want you to know a lot about the demographic in the area. I'm going to know the shopping habits in the area, the traffic, whether it's, highway traffic, foot traffic, upcoming construction. In New Jersey, if you guys don't know about New Jersey, we love to build and rebuild something again. So this actually almost just happened to my mom because she just bought a house last year. And where she's building a house, they were doing like some light construction on the highway. Well, it was very important that her realtor, and this is for a house, but the same thing would happen for a commercial. It was very important that her realtor knew what was the plans that they were going to be doing because they put a whole I'm about to curse. They put a whole circle loop-de-loo thing, like a car circle, if you guys don't know circles, loop-de-loo thing right next to the house she was about to purchase. If she had not been forewarned, she would have gone from being in one of the like deadest traffic areas to now being in a whole loop-de-loo. And ironically, speaking of commercial stuff, on that same construction that they did, because we love to build and rebuild here in New Jersey, that same construction that they did, there's a really well-known diner that used to have a beautiful view. Like you would see it coming down the highway, well-known diner, pretty amazing. It's a pretty nice building and everything. Now they done built this whole new another circle. They put a circle on both sides. How crazy is that? So they done built another circle. Now when you come down the highway, you don't even know the diner's there. So if somebody was selling that property and they didn't tell someone that, oh, this is about to happen to you, or someone was about to buy and they were, going for top dollar, and it's like, no, no, no. In 3 years, your whole view is about to be obstructed. And the whole property value of this thing's about to tank. Don't make that offer. Those are the kind of things that are super important to make sure that people know. And so when people see that kind of information on your site, you may not say specifically for that area, but when they see that you know about those concerns, when they see that you know about those questions that they might ask, when they see that kind of stuff on your site, they know that you're the person that they should be coming to. And in two different areas. So very important, instead of trying to be, again, everyone, that's what they call a butterfly pattern. Thank you. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right by Montclair with the new circles that they put on both sides of 46. It's quite a mess up there. But my Montclair's on this side, Little Falls, or was it Woodland Park on this side? I don't know, but they've killed it in that whole little area. So you're probably familiar with what I'm talking about. Um, all falls, and it does all fall under diligence. But what happens is that due diligence is not on your website. So you could be the perfect guy who does all this work for your people, who tells them all about this stuff, but your website never says any of that. So you'll never get found and search for it. If your website doesn't say it, Google doesn't know you do it, and you'll never get found for it. So you won't get found for it. And then two, people, even once they do find you or do know about you, they don't know that you do these different things. We've got a lot of hidden talents and a lot of hidden gems. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday of just staying in your circle with your hidden gems. But sometimes staying in our circle is just not putting it out there for people to see and people to read and people to experience on their websites. That's why we do SEO, because this brings those hidden gems that you know that you do, or you know that you know. It's sharing them out with people so that they know that you're the person to come to for that kind of stuff. Yes. Yeah, so that was another really good example, and the same thing for the school. Yes, it's a school to start real estate, but if you tell me like you like specifically do like real estate or work with people who want to rentals or do $1 million properties or do like you specifically work with this, I'm of course going to want to work with you more and go to your stuff more. I'll tell you guys. So my mentor, I always talk about him a lot, Stu McLaren. One of the things, one of the reasons why he's my mentor and why I talk about him so much and why I love, love, love Stu is because Stu specifically talks about membership sites. Well, guess who runs a membership site? I've run membership sites for years. I like the membership business model. So when Stu was talking about membership sites, there are other coaches out there. There are other, gurus, mentors out there. But very specifically, he talks about the thing that I do and I want to do and I want to perfect. So it made more sense for me to, go all in and work with him and join his programs and continue working with him because he talks about what I do. Not the same as somebody who just talks about building a course. Not the same who talks somebody who talks about just building an evergreen funnel. Not saying that they aren't great people, but they aren't necessarily talking about the thing that's my thing. So I ask you guys, when we're talking about what goes on your site and getting away from the marketing message to your search message, are people able to find what it is that you actually do? So let's talk about some of the ones that were kind of more the marketing messages that I saw in here. Because some of you guys gave me some marketing. I always say marketing things. I did like, so a couple people answered with questions. They would want to show up for answers to different questions or questions that people have. Like Brittany said, how to trust myself, how to change my life. Those are good questions. So it is definitely good to look at not just the topic, but the questions that I answer that I want to be found for. I want to be someone's answer. People buy from the person who answers and who resolves their issues. That's who people buy from. People aren't just buying on willy nilly. You go to the store to purchase something because it's resolving your issue. If you go even grocery shopping, you go grocery shopping because you need food, resolving your issue. You go to Target, like the whole big controversy with now they're trying to shut down some of the non-essential items in Target. You go to Target because you can get everything. You get the food, the clothes, the furniture, you can get everything you need all in one place. That's resolving your issue. So your businesses are just the same. You guys are here because I'm talking to you about how to get traffic. Somebody on here, give me a hands up if I'm if I'm lying. But somebody on here is having problems getting traffic. Somebody on here is like, I've got a good coaching business. I've got a good course that I set up. I've got a good membership. I'm doing really good with these things, but I need more people to come to my site. I need more people to find me. I need more people on my email list. And that's why you're here, because you need more people. I'm the resolution. I'm the solving that issue. That is what I do. So people come to you for the issue that you can resolve for them. So somebody said you're updating your website now as we're talking. Yes, absolutely. And that's what I want you guys to do. This is, of course, what we do in the 21 day jump. We do it together. So if you're like thinking, what about my business? Or how do I fix this? How do I work with this? This is exactly what we do in the 21 day jump. But this is what I want you guys to be thinking. I want you guys to be thinking about, what are the things that needs to be on my site. So talking about one of the ones that was a little bit marketing. So one of the questions came up, which is good. So I started out with one of the questions. The answer was how to achieve peace of mind through service-based entrepreneurship, and then I followed up with, what does peace of mind look like? So that's a little bit not completely marketing, but it's kind of marketing. And I always lead people into, what does that look like? So when you say peace of mind, what is peace of mind to somebody? Does peace of mind mean they're getting more money? Does peace of mind mean they've got a babysitter in their house? Does peace of mind mean they're, able to get traffic without having to do a lot of work on social media? What does peace of mind look like? Because people aren't generally searching for, I need peace of mind. That's more of the things, and I say the marketing stuff because there's language that you use to sell someone once they found you, and there's language that you use to hook them in and attract them to even looking at you. So when I say that, it's like, peace of mind, yes, that's what I want to know you're going to give me later, but what I am looking for is probably one specific thing. Or I'm probably looking based on an actual problem. So I asked a little bit about dealing with stress. So my problem would be how to make my business less stressful. I just did a podcast episode, ironically, on how to. So this, if you guys don't listen to the podcast, go to Girl Get Visible podcast. And this week's episode was about how SEO helps with business burnout, because that's what people are looking for. People, oh, how do I avoid business burnout, or how do I resolve business burnout? What is business burnout? Those are things that people are going to be looking for. Peace of mind, that might be a little bit still, I'm going to say, just vague to people. It's a feeling, but how do you put that feeling into something concrete? Something someone can touch, or something someone can feel, something someone can say, I did this, and kind of resonate with everyone. Peace of mind is, to me, more of a little bit of marketing, like, those are the things you use to sell them once they get there. What's the thing that's going to hook them? So like I said, I dug deeper on this example and said, what is peace of mind? What is really, and I asked a couple of people that, what is really the concrete thing that the person's looking for? Like somebody said, trendy clothing. What is trendy to that person? Because trendy to what might be for me definitely is not the same trend for someone in their 20s. Right now, some people think that TikTok is a trend. Some people think that Instagram DJing is a trend. So which trend are we kind of going towards? So you want to again get away from just the marketing message to what's the thing that someone's actually looking for? And you can do that by what's their end result, what's their goal, or what's their problem, what's the beginning? Like kind of we bookend it. What's the beginning, what's the end? Your business is in the middle because you need them to be either having that problem, you're going to help solve it, you get them to their goal. And most people either searching for what do they need to resolve, so have what's their problem, or they're searching for what's their goal at the end. So I talk a lot about getting traffic. The goal is to get traffic. I also talk not as much because I don't like to dwell on the problems, but I also talk about frustration with Facebook ads. I talk about not being able to get people to come to your site, not being able to get people to sign up for your products. Those are the problems. When people were looking for online boutique stores, they were looking for problems, where to find wholesalers, where to find legitimate wholesalers was like a really big one. Where to find legitimate wholesalers was a big one. Where to find how to get people to buy from your store, how to get people to notice your products in your store, how to not look like everyone else on Instagram. Those were things that people were always searching for. Those are things that I was ranking really high for because it's most of them my number one for because I knew that those were the problems that people were searching for the most, and I made sure they were on that site. I made sure that I said exactly what they were looking for. Exactly, this is their problem. And in my copy, in what was on the site, I resolved the problem. But the fact of the matter is that you're not going to get them to your site if you never address those two things. You never talk about a goal. You never talk about the problem. So Marlena said specific and detailed, which Marlena, you answered, you were the after, yeah, but you hear my hope? I don't know if you heard, I just used it as an example. But yeah, you got a little bit more specific, but yeah, what exactly are the people going to be looking for, especially in your space? The bigger your space, the more specific you need to be. So, some people you can just say, like, if it's something new and different. I'm trying to think what's new and different. TikTok videos, actually. Let's talk about that. But if it's something like how to do a TikTok video, because it's so new, it's pretty whatever. Like people, if you say how to do a TikTok video, you're gonna get a good stream of people. Something like Facebook, because Facebook has been around for so long, Facebook videos have been around for so long, people are now going to be more specific in that search. Not just how to do a Facebook video, but how to do a Facebook marketing video, or how to do a Facebook video that sells, how to do a live Facebook video. Like they're going to be super, like a little bit more specific with that because it's a much broader topic and there's already a lot of people out there talking about it. So you want to get more specific. The more people are talking about it, the searcher, because what happens is people get a result, that result either fits or doesn't fit what they're looking for, and then they do another search. I think I told you guys yesterday that people only look for like the first 2-3 pages, then they're out because they're like, this search did not get what I want. Let me now do the next search and do the next search and do the next search. So what we want to do, and that's what we talk about in the 21-day jump, is that we want to make sure we're hitting on those searches. um how about if you solve a problem and your audience doesn't know it's a problem? Iris, honestly, and that's one of the things like we definitely talk about in the third week of the 21-day jump, is that if you are solving a problem that your audience doesn't know is a problem, then you're solving the wrong problem. They need to know that this is going to solve a problem that they currently know that they have. Because if you're just solving something and they never, like, that's like somebody comes into my house and starts fixing on a pipe that I don't know what's wrong with it. I never knew it was a problem. I'm not going to want to pay them because I didn't have that issue. That's like if you guys ever been, again, this is very, very metropolitan New York area thing, but you guys ever like pull up somewhere and the guy come and start washing your windshield up, your window, like, and he wants you to tip him and pay him afterwards, and you're usually pretty pissed, and the whole time he's washing, you're telling him, nah, 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 I don't need that. The reason why that's happening is because you didn't have that problem. You didn't feel your window was dirty, and so now here comes this dude trying to solve it, and he's pretty much solving the wrong thing. Now, not to say something else wasn't dirty. Maybe he could have told you something else. Maybe he could have helped you identify that it was a problem. But that moment that he just comes and tries to just start wiping on your window, you're probably pretty pissed because he's touching on your car and you didn't need him to, right? So that's what I would say. So if you got a problem That if you're solving a problem and your audience doesn't know it's a problem, then you're going after the wrong problem, not the wrong business. So I know you guys laughing at me. I see it. So me and my analogies, right? But not the wrong business, but you're pretty much positioning your business to the wrong problem. Like we talked about, I think you were on a Monday. We were talking about the restaurants and how the restaurants can help people right now in this time with the pandemic and food delivery and stuff like that. They didn't have that problem 2 months ago. But right now, we can position that exact same business to help with something that's right now hitting them. So those are the things we kind of talk about in that week when we were talking about what are the messages that you should have on your site right now, and we match it up. Everything is researched and data driven. So we don't just say, "Oh, I think," like we don't do the finger in the air thing. We don't do the finger in the air thing and think that we found a solution. No, no, no. We go and we get some numbers. We go and we get some, data behind it. We go and we research and make sure that people are actually talking about this problem, expressing this problem, looking for it. Like we do some work around this to make sure it's the right thing. So before you start talking about the wrong thing, which is one thing that people do, like, oh, I think this is good, we don't just think anything's good. We make sure it's good. We do, like I said, we do the research. We figure out that it really is the right thing for us to be talking about. It really is the right thing that people are currently searching for and currently looking for. And then that's the ones that we go after. That's why we spend a week doing this. It's not just about, you know, let me take these things that I thought of today and walk away. We actually do a little bit more research. And for you guys who are just joining, not been on some of the other weeks, I'm going to, the other days, I am going to put the link to the 21-day jump here. And if you have questions, you guys know me, I will answer questions. Just put it in the chat. All right, hopefully I spelled that all right and everything. Oh, I can't even pin a post anymore. Man, did I mention I hate this new I hate this new platform that they got going on here. All right, I did spell it right at least. All right. So if you guys want to find out more about the 21-day jump, we start on Monday. Doors close tomorrow night, midnight, the whole good nine. So if you're getting in, you're gonna want to jump with us. You want to go over to girlgetvisible.com/21-day jump. Made it simple. 21-day jump, girl get visible, right? Um, and you can get more information. You can sign up. All the details and stuff are there, including what we talk about each week. Which, if you look at, some of the lessons we're talking about in some of these lives are directly tied to what we talk about each week. So I'm going to go through one more example. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Let me look at this one. So Alden answered, he said design driven vintage lifestyle. And so I know, because I know it's his site a little bit. And this I thought was another really good example, because while he talks about the style of clothing, and he does either creates clothing and styles clothing, but around clothing, but he talks about the style of clothing. He forgot, or did not put, not saying forgot, but he did not put what exactly it is. And so that's another spectrum of what we don't have on our websites, that we have so much of our own industry jargon. So if all I did was sit here and talk to you guys about SEO and backlinks and meta tags and, description tags and alt tags and all these other things, you guys probably would have left my live a long time ago, because all I'm doing is using like industry jargon, things that make sense to me, things that might make sense to my competition, because we were all doing SEO, so we know what these things mean, but they're not things that people are searching for. They're not things that people are like, that's something that I need to make sure I know. That's something that's going to help me. Though, and that's super important, because a lot of times people will do that. People will say, okay, XYZ about whatever it is that they talk about, and they'll go down with their acronyms, they'll go down with their catchphrases, they'll go down with all these things, and people will be like, what are they talking about? And of course, you'll never get found in search. And you know why? Is because the person with the problem, the person who's doing the searching, That person doesn't even know those words that you're telling them yet. I very rarely, people even ask me, why did I name it Girl Get Visible instead of naming it SEO Visible or SEO Land or SEO anything? And the fact of the matter is that I want to help people who want to get out there. Once you decide you want to get out there and it's time to get traffic and time to bring people to your business, I can tell you, I can teach you what SEO is. That's what I do. But I need you to first know that you need to get out there and get visible. I need you to know that it is what's going to help you do that. I need to speak your language before I start teaching you my language. Does that make sense to you guys? That I need to be talking with what my person is talking, my audience is talking. I need to talk about the traffic. I need to talk about the frustrations. I need to talk about even, the marketing that they're already doing. I need to talk about their language before I can say, come on here and let me show you this new thing. Let me show you this language that you may not know. SEO isn't new. It's been here like decades, but that person may not know. So when you're thinking about that, when you're thinking about what are the things that I'm going to put on my site, look at your site and say, is my site all industry jargon? Is my site all things that only people who are already well versed in this, who probably are already working with someone, who are probably already doing something, are those when your head time, how you doing? Are those the people that are coming to my site? Because you may not need those people. They got this. You need the people who don't got this, who need help getting this. Those are your people. Those are the people that you want to help to educate, to bring into the circle, to bring in the matrix of your business. And that's another thing I noticed in some of the answers, like that specific one was very much about the style, about the type, about the thing. But if I'm a person who just needs something to wear, or I need a whole new outlook in what I'm wearing, that's my problem, not what style. You tell me about the style. You tell me the style is good for me. Because if you get me at the right place where you're solving my problem, you gotta tell me this is good, and I'm gonna shake my head and say, yes, you're right. This is cute. I like how this looks. You know what I mean? So when you're thinking of that language, make sure you're thinking of the language that, like I said, also is their language before you teach them your language. So reading Irish contracts, oh, just because a restaurant has never been sued does not mean it's not a potential problem due to a non-compliance with ADA. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so you're saying because they haven't been sued, but even if they haven't been sued, doesn't mean they don't know they have a problem. That's where, and again, that's where that awareness comes in. And I wouldn't even say ADA, because if somebody doesn't know what ADA is, so I happen to know about ADA, or a little bit about ADA, only from my web design days, because we need to make sure that things were disability compliant in order for people not to get sued. But you're right, your average restaurant owner does not know that. They may or may not know about ADA. They may or may not think about those things. So what they do know is they don't want to lose money. What they do know is they don't want to get shut down. And what they do know is they don't want to get sued. So that's the problem that they have. And so when you put it in that perspective, you put it in, these are the things that are going to help you resolve this problem or answer these questions, how not to get sued, how not to get shut down, you know, how not to have a bad reputation on Twitter when people start tweeting about you. That is going to ring true somebody. And then you can bring them down the road to say, oh, one of the ways you do this, or the way I can help you do this, is making sure that you're ADA compliant, and explain to them what ADA compliant is. So does that make sense? That's actually a very good example, Iris. Tanya said, I'm in her head, just talked about this, creating audience conditioning content versus brand. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Your marketing content is more your brandy awareness. Like, those are things like people want those feel good words once they get to your site. No one's just searching for those feel good words. They're just not doing that. So what site is this that you just gave me, John? Is this your property site? Oh, these are the updates. These are the updates you just made. I'm gonna look at it when I'm offline with this. That is hilarious. But I love the take action spirit of that. So I am going to let you guys go for tonight. If there aren't any other questions, if you do have any questions, head on over to the 21-day jump. I answer a lot of the questions about the program there, what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be moving forward with. I'm looking really forward to jumping with you guys the next couple of weeks and helping more and more businesses to get out there, get found, and of course, be visible. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Have a good night.